I'm Olivia. I am a wildlife and travel photographer. My goal is to inspire people to give a shit.
I'm Pat. Spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I have strong views on conservation and the U.S. Constitution.
We will discuss topics like yoga,
How to gut a deer and not fuck up your meat.
orgasmic meditation,
Full body orgasms.
life after divorce.
Life after death.
Why the fuck do we still use plastic bags?
Why can't everyone learn guitar in school?
What do you look for in the perfect photo?
What's in my food?
What's in my mouth?
We might also dabble in a little bit of motorcycles. That's right. She rides a Harley, bitches. While our upbringings drastically differed,
Our ability to communicate and be open-minded has allowed us to strengthen our relationship. So this podcast is here for you to broaden your horizons, possibly change your perspective on a topic. So we hope you enjoy listening to the Hunter and Hippie. Welcome to episode number 14, I believe, right? Yeah, 14. Nice. We're in the teens. I feel like a teenager.
we've been in the teens.
13, yeah, for a week or two. So we are recording very raw, unedited,
Abruptly.
abruptly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are in the middle of Sturgis rally, and Pat and I are both working and doing all the things, but we wanted to at least continue the releases and not slack and miss one. So this one's going to be kind of more unedited and just we're going to go with the flow. But we also have a topic that's kind of exciting for us. And we thought that because we are both divorced and we've been through that and we're in a new relationship. So we just want to discuss our 1-year anniversary. We just had that yesterday and he luckily had the day off as well. So we were able to spend like the whole day together.
Yeah, it worked out. And, you know, over the past year, we've had people approach us and ask us these questions of how do you guys deal with introducing the kids? How do you guys deal with breaking into a new relationship? And you know, people commented that we've moved kind of quickly, but I think overall it's like more of a natural movement. We didn't put a timeline on anything. We just let things naturally happen. And because of that, as a result of that, everything's been really well and pretty seamless.
Yeah. I mean, we've obviously had obstacles, but with the year that we've been together, we've kind of learned, well, we've obviously learned a lot about each other, but I've also learned a lot about myself, my triggers in a relationship, habits that, you know, I see in a new relationship with Pat that I did in my marriage. And I'm like, fuck, that's me. like I'm the common denominator there. So, yeah, so we kind of wanted to just discuss some of what we've learned about each other, what we learned about ourselves in this new relationship, life after divorce.
Life after divorce.
Life after death. That's like the intro. That's what you said.
Yeah, but that was actually death, not divorce.
I know, but I think I said life after divorce because it's kind of like a death. There was one thing, and then we'll start talking about us. I had a friend who was having chest pains and thought maybe he was having a heart attack. And the doctor asked 3 questions. Are you building a house? Did a loved one die? Or are you going through divorce? Those are the 3 top most stressful things that doctor considered would cause a heart attack, which is kind of crazy and why I never want to build a house. But divorce sucks. You know, we kind of talked, or I talked alone, how when you know, like, to keep pushing and keep trying in your marriage, and when you know it's time to walk away, and when it's time to just, you know, say goodbye. And obviously with kids, you never really say goodbye to your ex-wife or ex-husband because you have children together. But you have to make that conscious decision to walk away for the sake of your happiness, and your happiness impacts your children and just everyone in your life. So I made that decision, not really. When I was pregnant, we got divorced and I just had to accept, you know, what was going on. And then we did get back together. So our relationships kind of ended around the same time. So we've been apart from our significant others that we share children with, and we've been together like a year.
Mhm.
So what have you learned about what are some of your triggers that you've caught yourself doing with me?
With you, kind of how you said you catch yourself, I catch myself too. Like I
And
used
what?
I used to worry insanely about little things that don't really matter, that don't drive a relationship, that don't drive your happiness and things like that. It's more like, why am I stressing so much about these little things? And with you, I've learned that if I have an issue or I have a concern and I bring it up to you, you hear me, you listen to me, you process and analyze what I'm saying, and then you come up with either a resolve or a middle ground to where we can work on it. You pay attention. I've never been in a relationship where somebody literally just pays attention to everything I'm doing. Like, hey, you look tired. Hey, which right now I do look tired.
I
But
feel like I do that a little too much sometimes.
a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like when you're,
Like, my back hurts. Oh, you need sleep.
I mean, the common denominator for you need sleep.
Yeah.
Like for anything. You just don't get enough sleep. So yeah, I think like you've shared with me before that, and I think that's the key is when you're in a new relationship, I think it's really important to say, hey, these are some things that I tend to believe in a relationship, or these are like the habits that I have. So like when he says, "Oh, my feelings don't matter," or "I'm overthinking this," and then he just feels like he has to handle it all on his own. So that was kind of the breaking of patterns, was me telling him, I care. I want to hear what's going on. I want to know exactly what you're dealing with so I can help in any way. And even if I can't help because it's work related or whatever, I at least know what's going on so that I can create that space of safety. And if you're just stressed, I can hug you, but if I don't know you're stressed because you internalize it, then how am I going to help you? So then it's going to continue down the divorce path.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest difference now between any relationship I've been in to our relationship is the communication factor, to where I am unjudged. I've always lived my life thinking like, oh, wonder what other people are going to think, and I don't care about that. But I mean, I do care about it, but at the same time, I care what other people think. But in order for me to get across what I'm trying to say, I need like a little bit of time, not so much space, but I just need time to verbalize it, because prior to you, if I had an issue, it was internal. I did not communicate it to anyone until it was either a blow up or it was something that I just suppressed to the point where I almost forgot about it,
Your body doesn't though.
Right. So enabling communication has been a huge step for us, both of us, where there's a lot of times where I'm a quiet dude most of the time. And
I know. And then I think you're upset because I learned through my 10-year relationship that quiet was like punishment, like I did something wrong. So there's plenty of times where I will say, hey, you're being quiet, and I'm telling myself that you're mad at me. And so now it's kind of a joke. He'll be like, hey, by the way, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, being quiet, it's not because I'm angry or upset. It's because I'm processing. I'm trying to put it into words that make sense, because I have so many, I guess, logs in the fire. I don't know the analogy. I have so many different things going on that when I do have time to reflect on something for me, I have to physically shut down and concentrate solely on that. I mean, to transition into business owning and having one path that I was sure that I was going down, and then it transitioning from home inspector to handyman, from handyman to mobile detailing on top of my normal career, as your dad said, throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. every time I threw shit at the wall, it was like, it was runny. So it didn't stick. I mean, it was there. If I put a little more effort, then it may have stuck, but I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. And, you have had days where, you're frustrated at that, frustrated at me thinking like, okay, well, this is going to work. And then we'd try it for a little bit and I'm like, it's really just not taking off the way I thought.
Yeah.
Until now it's like, holy shit. If I'm idle, I think something's wrong with myself. Like there shouldn't be a rest day, in my opinion. There is no time to sit down and do nothing.
So how does that apply to us?
That was the way I was brought up and raised. So I brought that into relationships where, like yesterday, we did things together. We rode our motorcycles. We went down to the Sturgis rally. We were constantly busy. And when we were camping, it was stillness. And it was very enjoyable for me because I was able to reflect and go, you know what, it's okay to reset. It's okay to have a rest day. In the past, I feel like I have overlooked what my partner wants and needs and just pushed past it all because the priority
must be productive.
Yeah, the priority was production. Where now, I am able to produce and be on the go the way I am, but do it with you. Even when I'm in my busy schedule and you're in your busy schedule, we still find time for each other and we find time to fit, even if it's an hour, fit in, hanging out or just having a conversation. And in my past, it was never like that. It was like, oh, I got to work today. So the whole day is shut off. Where now I integrate you into everyday life.
Do you remember early on, was it always like that or did it become like that because you guys got comfortable?
Early on, things were exciting, and then I wouldn't say because of comfortability, or is that a word? I'm sure early on it was probably more dynamic, but life happens, kids happen, and when I say kids happen, I don't mean birthing. I mean what they have going on, sports, after school care, or sickness, or whatever.
I personally think that we get comfortable in relationships, so we stop trying. That's what I experienced. It was like unconscious relationship. It was like, yeah, well, you're in the house. It was like, meh.
Yeah.
That's how it felt for me. And I make a conscious effort to communicate with you and just make that time and create a habit now so that it sticks, because it's really easy to be all lovey-dovey and in lust and love like early on. And we've had this discussion because that's a fear of mine is, a couple years down the road, you're going to get comfortable and I'm just going to be like this nuisance in the house. And that's how it felt for me for years in my marriage, where I was just bothersome.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're like, oh, you're so amazing, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm new. I think that if we can continue to do what we do by when I have something to share, you give me your attention, you give me your eye contact. When something tough is said, you thank me and you hug me for sharing, which is really freaking weird for me. When you're home and in bed, we we're present. We follow our rules, like I don't think that's a public episode. But if you have the $2-3 to spend on the subscription, that one episode is our rules of engagement. It's rules that we decided to write down as a couple and we share in a shared notes on our phone. Mm-hmm. And so it's like an outline of how to stay present, how to be a successful couple. And he knows, like, there are things, like, I was filled with words and promises. So the triggering parts that we've come like in contact with already is like, oh, well, I'm not going to do the home inspection. So then I'm just like, oh, great. Now it's all these empty promises. But at least with us, I've shared that like pretty immediately. Like, hey, this is what I was told in my marriage, like all these promises, and hardly any of them came to fruition. So I'm putting you in that box and I'm acknowledging I'm putting you in a box right now, but I'm verbalizing it so we can work through it. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing because like he internalizes when he's processing. I internalize when I'm like dealing with resentments instead of sharing it. I was taught that when I share, it gets thrown back in my face. And so I'm unlearning that with him. But the only way to unlearn and to change those patterns is to keep pushing through the uncomfortable parts to get to a new habit. It's just like working out, getting into a habit of going to the gym. It's the first probably week is difficult. That's going to be me after rally. It's going to probably be difficult to get back into a workout routine, but I know it's possible because I've done it before. I haven't, done this with a relationship, but I've done it in other areas of my life. So I do believe that obviously if we both make this conscious effort, it'll happen and we'll succeed.
Yeah. And then, you talked about resentment and you having come out of a relationship to where you were treated that way and what you said didn't matter, or your thoughts and emotions and your thoughts on things were a nuisance. It's kind of created in the beginning an uphill battle for me to try to break through that and navigate through that to get to where, you are believing what I'm saying. The trust is built through action, not words.
Yeah.
And then, everybody's going to have their own battle when they leave a relationship and then come into a new one. Everyone, regardless if they say, oh no, I'm not going to carry over anything from my past relationship, you're full of shit because you're going to. You have OCD, I have OCD, but they're slightly different. And when you're adamant about something like the dishes, you want the dishes done a specific way. I
just want them clean.
Right. Well, yeah.
Darn, I'm difficult.
Cleaned a certain way.
How? What do you mean? Don't look at me like that.
Like you can't use a paper towel.
Well, I don't want formaldehyde on my dishes.
Well, and then you won't use a regular towel.
What are you talking about? What are you
like
talking about?
Like the cast iron skillet.
I didn't put that there. It's full of water from you cooking.
I know. Because
so I don't understand.
What I'm saying is the things that are bothersome to you when you communicate them, the way you communicate them is important, because if you communicate them to me in like a snarky, sarcastic way, because that's what you're used to from a prior relationship, it's hard for me to then approach it because you're already set in that way. And that's not just you specifically. That's anyone leaving a relationship going into a new one. They're going to carry over their triggers from their previous relationship. And
so what I'm hearing you say, because I'm not really catching what you're saying, you're saying that I have particular ways of doing things and the way I communicate them is triggering?
If you communicate them bitchy or snarky or, sarcastic because maybe you've said it 100 times in your past relationship, but you've only said it once or twice to me.
Yeah, I think catching that.
Yeah.
There's been some stuff like that, but I feel like I've caught it and I've said like, hey, this is one thing that really bothers me. Yeah. And you're like, okay. I'm like, so I'm taken aback and kind of like not startled, but like, what just happened? That was too easy. It was like too easy for me to just share, hey, it would really mean a lot if this could be done this way, just because the other way drives me nuts. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, like, tell me what you want. Don't make me guess.
Yeah, you're definitely like, just tell me. One thing that I think is really cool, like a superpower of ours, is you check in all the time and you say 1 to 10. Like 1 to 10, how happy are you with us? Mm-hmm. He does it 1 to 5 million times a day. So that I think is a great way. It's a way to check in. I learned that in couples therapy was you check in with each other. How are you today? Like, and you give a shit about what they have to say. He's spoiled now. He's like, if I give him a 9 out of 10, he's like, why don't I have a 10?
Yeah, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah, what did I do? And
then you're like, oh, well, we have so many things to get done and we're running out of time. And I'm like, that's not to do with us.
I've done much better.
Yeah.
Done much better with not taking out my frustrations if it's unrelated to him. So like if it's something outside of him or the kids are being annoying or they're not getting along, I do have to ask myself, is this a problem with us or is it just a freaking annoying and I'm taking it out on him? So I think the questions that he asked me have shifted that to where I'm really like, is that us or is it an outside influence? And most of the time it's an outside influence, but I know that that's how I tend to be. Like if something happens outside of my relationship, I'm not avoidant. I'm more the anxious and like I just need to be alone. I'm just better off alone. And I've told him that, and it's been, I know it hurts his feelings, but he's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, I'm just telling myself that I'm fine on my own. And he's like, well, what? Why? And I tell him whatever's going through my head. And almost every time you pretty much ask me, well, does that have anything to do with us? And I'm like, well, no.
Right.
But like, it's a habit and a thing for me to like flee if things get difficult, because I tried so hard. I contorted my values, myself so much for my marriage that I'm afraid to do it again. And he knows that that's something that I still battle with, but he at least creates that space where I can verbalize everything and it's not thrown back in my face. So I think that helps.
Yeah. And, if you're verbalizing to me, then I know what the fuck you're thinking. I think that's important in all relationships. If you just shut off and you're grumpy or you're bitchy and it's just because you're processing something, just tell that person that. Like, I'll tell you, this is bothering me and I'm processing. I'm in the middle of selling my fucking house and it's very painstakingly stressful. But, I might be super stressed over that, and then you start talking about it and it just builds more stress on me. But I didn't verbalize to you that, hey, I've been dealing with this for 3 fucking hours before you and I even saw each other's face, and the first words out of your mouth are house. Then I start losing my shit.
Out of my mouth is a house?
Yeah. What's going on with the house? You
Yeah.
know? And I had just ended, or I decompressed all my stress from it, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. That's an outside entity. It's not to do with us. I'm going to come in the door. Things are going to be fine. And it's like the first question out of your mouth is, what's going on with the house? And I'm like, fuck. And then it all comes back. And I can't take that out on you, where I think in my past, it was just like a snowball effect. If I had stress, I didn't take a sidestep. I didn't duck and weave out of the punch. I just took the punch in the face. I would let that stressor control my entire day. Where with you, I've learned if I sidestep that stress for half a second and explain to you what's going on, then I can focus back on that stress without you thinking, oh my God, you're mad at me, or what's going on? Why are you short? Why are you irritated?
Well, we also have a thing where we shake each other's asses.
Yeah.
Like we make each other shake their ass. So he's done it so many times with me lately. And I don't know, I did it with you with this, like with the house, like building a house, selling a house, moving. It sucks. It's always going to suck. It's the most stressful thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't tell me I've been dealing with the house for the last 3 hours, can we just pause? I'll tell you about it later. If you communicate that to me right away, then I know, all right, like you've addressed my concerns, though you haven't answered it. You've addressed my question by saying, hey, right now, I've talked about it for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a second to process, and then I'll come back to you and tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
So then I'd be like, oh, like if I love you and respect you, I'm not going to be like, well, fuck you. Why can't you do it on my time?
Yeah, no, it needs to happen right now. And I think that's a mistake that people make is they want the result right now. They're not willing to wait it out. They're not willing to process. They just shoot off the hip and continue to push through whatever their issue is. And they don't care about what their partner's going through. There's been days where you're super stressed about the house. Maybe it's the dog hair, or right now we're in the middle of the 85th Sturgis motorcycle rally. Things are crazy hectic. I'm working my night shift. I get off. I start detailing motorcycles. I stop detailing motorcycles, and that's my time period to sleep. And then,
eat dinner and go back.
Yeah, do everything that you would do in a 24-hour period at home regularly on your day off. We don't get that. So I'm condensing everything into about 4 hours.
To eat and sleep and shower.
Eat, sleep, shower, clean the house, take the trash out, all that stuff. Our trash, we just emptied the trash, and it was like the heaviest it's ever been, and it smelled because you put food in it.
Yeah, like 5 days ago.
Yeah. And
I forgot about it because we haven't been home.
Yeah, and she's like super stressed last night.
I was? Why?
At the end of the night last night when we came in the house and everything was a mess.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know that, like, when I see mess, like, I know there's people out there. I'm not the only one. Like, when there's disarray in the house, that's how my mind and my body feels. Like, when there's shit everywhere, I am not relaxed. I'm not able to relax. So the moments where I've been home have consisted of doing some chore, like we had a couple hours this morning and I did a load of laundry because it was overflowing out of the hampers. But having that grace is key. And I think in this situation, I had definitely been like, God damn it, like the trash wasn't taken out. And that's normally something he remembers. But having that grace to be like, he's working 2 full-time jobs right now and it's freaking rally. So I did it at like 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I got home from some event, some industry thing, and I ran it down to the end of the driveway and I Superman ran the whole way back with the cats running after me. And I was like, God, I wish you would have seen the whole thing on the cameras. They were both dead.
She's like fucking Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
all the dogs and cats follow her everywhere she goes.
I know, the animals love me, but I'm literally running down the driveway with my arms spread wide and I felt like a child, but it helped me in that moment. Like, it made it fun. It was taking the trash out, but it made it fun. I've laughed at myself. Like, I can't believe that a grown woman just did that without even thinking. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be silly. It was like, so like right now it's a hard time for our relationship because we've hardly seen each other. He has, 2 full-time jobs. I'm going from Jacob's Gallery to an industry party to Jacob's Gallery to photographing the Hall of Fame induction for the Sturgis Museum, back to the gallery, and then another, like a birthday party with all the industry people that I've known my whole life. So it's like we've both just been very distracted, but we have made a little bit of time for each other because no matter how busy it is, you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing for me. Like, I watched the attention and the effort in my marriage just freaking, it went everywhere else but our relationship. And I verbalized it numerous times. Like, this is a problem. Your work is very taxing. It's taking all of your time, no matter what time of day. And our relationship won't survive. And I verbalized that and I was so proud of myself. And it was like, yeah, well, this is how it is right now. And you're going to have to suck it up. And I was like, yeah, but I literally am like checking out. I'm just like, hey, I'm drowning. We're drowning. And I verbalized it, and to not have it be even heard was really hurtful. But when, I've said, hey, I miss you. Like, okay, well, I'm going to be home at this time. Let's spend like 20 minutes in the sauna together. So it's so important to just make time. 5 to 15 minutes will suffice. Obviously, don't only give that much time to your loved one because that's not enough. But if you're so busy in this one chapter or one phase of the year, then, it's definitely doable.
Yeah, and it's not as difficult as you think to make an effort. You're at the gallery till 7 p.m. My shift starts at 9 p.m. I can go to the gallery at 5 p.m. And then when you're closing the gallery, we can go eat dinner together. Even if we don't have time for that, when Rally was in the first few days of it, you were basically glued to the gallery. And I just made it a point. Like, okay, I slept a little bit. I'm in between jobs. I've got 2 hours to make a choice on, am I going to clean this house? Am I going to, take the dogs for a walk, take the trash out or whatever?
Funny.
Am I going to do that stuff? Or can I give the attention to the animals that they need, give them food, give them water, and then I go up to the gallery and spend, an hour with you? Yeah, it shortens my day, but at the end of the day, we need it. So just having that little bit of time, and even though you're working, in between, it's like we're with each other, we see each other. And I think just putting forth that little bit of effort makes a huge difference. You made an effort to bring me some lunch when I was detailing. You made an effort to come out and spend a little bit of time with me. You brought Hendrix with you. And it was a time where, I was in the middle of doing stuff, but it was still fun because, Hendrix was rolling his cars down the driveway, steep driveway. He's just
bombing them.
Yeah, he's yeeting cars down the driveway, and I clean motorcycles, and he brings his bicycle next to me and starts, wiping it down.
Yeah, let's talk about kids. That's kind of a big thing, divorce, especially when you're in your 30s, 40s. You most likely have one or a million children. Haley and Hendrix, Hendrix is going to be 4 in a couple weeks, and Haley is going to be turning 7. So they're pretty close in age. And that was something I was a little scared of. I only have one kid. And so to co-mingle and to blend the two children into one house and see how that goes, that was scary because I'm really big on the stability and safety of Hendrix because my pregnancy was unsafe and sad. So I am like hypersensitive to it because I carry a lot of guilt. And so with bringing in another child into his home, I was very protective. And sometimes I still am overly protective of that. But the two of them have really they ask about each other all the time. It's so cute. And now, like, I don't know what it is. Have you noticed, like, how in the beginning they were, they'd kind of argue or like bicker, and now it's like, you want to go play outside with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to go play talk? Yeah. Well, okay. Here, I have my Barbie. I got Hendrix a Ken doll who he named Patrick. Freaking amazing. And then they go outside and they just do their thing. And then I have guilt that I'm not involved because I'm like, oh, I'm missing out on his childhood type of thing. But I'm like, but wait, I need to back away so that he can play with another child and use their imagination together. So there's been a lot of adjustments. And, that's why we wanted to come on and talk about like the 1 year together. What have we learned? What have we struggled with? Like, we haven't really talked about our struggles, have we?
You and I, we really haven't had any.
I mean, like
that's between you and I. There's been outside problems, but between you and I, we're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Together.
I mean, and the outside issues or drama, we just had dinner with my son's dad and his aunt. Like, so my ex's aunt and her husband. So it was like, what, the 4 adults and then Hendrix?
Mm-hmm.
Or 5 adults and Hendrix. And I was at first like a little sick to my stomach because I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, everybody at the table knows how to be an adult and not let their drama influence or impact Hendrix being at the table. But I was still like, oh my God, I don't know how to act. Like, I don't know what to say. Just like, it was a finesse. And obviously it's going to get easier. I'm just really grateful that my ex is now even able to do that.
And like, I didn't know about it at all until we were walking over there. And then on the way to go eat, it was like, oh, by the way, my ex and Hendrix and his aunt and her husband are going to be there. And I was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, he
what
was
am
like,
I gonna
okay.
do?
And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because I was ready to go sit on our own. And he's like, no, like, let's just do this. And it's like, to get to that point, I'm super grateful because I think if you can set your shit aside and you don't have to be best friends, like, just freaking be an adult and show your kids how you can put your own drama aside and you can still be cordial, you can still be polite. My mom always said that when we were kids was like, kill them with kindness, especially people that, have an issue with you. Give them no reason to talk shit about you. To be that bigger person, I think, is the much higher road to take than be like, I don't want to fucking see him. It would affect our relationship.
Right.
If you were like, well, I don't want to sit there, I'd be like, well, this is my fucking kid. And I can't change who the father of my child is. So then that would be a problem we have.
Right.
So the fact that you were able to sit at that table and converse with Freddie, that was amazing. It was amazing for me. It was like this weight was lifted off my chest. I didn't realize that I was like suffocating on. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. There's a point in time where you have to grow the fuck up. And if if you're going to hold on to a grudge, that's on you. But if you can't progress and you can't let things go and you can't just live life, then that's an issue that you have as a person. It's not the people around you, and that's one of my biggest annoyances in life is that people don't own up to their own mistakes, their own struggles that they create for themselves. And the sooner in life that you can accept, like, hey, that's me. This is an issue that I'm having. I'm not going to project that on everyone around me. The sooner people are able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, this is my fuck up. I need to deal with it, and I need to find a way to navigate through it or around it. There's ways to be cordial and be a fucking adult and still show your kids that life can be normal even though mom and dad aren't together. Haley's done amazing at it. She's obsessed with you. I'll get her on the days that I have off, and for the first 2 hours of every pickup day, it's like, oh, hi Dad, where's Liv? And it's like, oh, hi Haley. I miss you. I miss you too. And she's like, no, where's Liv? Let's go do this with Liv. Let's go outside. Let's walk in the forest. She wants to do everything that you want to do. And I'm okay with it because she loves you, and her ability to recognize that, hey, Dad is happy. Dad is in love. Dad is in a good place in life. She's so adaptive to wanting to know more about you and learn more about you and spend her time with you versus just the norm of, oh, it's time with Dad. Okay, we're going to go to the park and then maybe go get some dinner and maybe go get some ice cream. When we moved in together, it was like she saw this household of people who pay attention to what you're saying and they care about everyone around each other. I don't know if I'm making any fucking sense, but what I'm trying to say is Haley walks into the room and she sees a house full of love, and she believes in love, and it's great. I don't want her to think that because mom and dad didn't work out that there's no chance at love for her future life. And granted, she's 6 years old, and that's shit that I hope to God is not even crossing her mind. But as she gets older and she's around this more, she's going to learn that, hey, it's okay. Just because you went through a divorce doesn't mean you failed at your life. If you use it as lessons learned and you better yourself from it and you better your family because of it, then who's to say that your divorce is failure? It could have been just a step in life that made you successful. Unfortunately, society nowadays and relationships nowadays, they just don't last like they used to in the 50s and 60s. We look at our parents and your parents have been married, 40 years? Mm-hmm. Your parents have been married almost as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
And then, you look at my parents and they got divorced when I was in high school. You run into damn near anybody in town and their parents are likely divorced.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. But
and I also, with that, you have social media, you have ways of communicating with the world, and that I think causes distractions at home. What?
Communicating with the what?
World.
What world?
World. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like you literally can talk with the other side of the world, and with that comes a lot of distraction.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of times where I'll catch myself or catch him and I'm like, okay, like, can we get off our phones? Like,
yeah.
I'll
literally take your phone and throw it across the countertop. And you're like, what? Okay.
Yeah, like I can't get pissed unless I'm in the middle of something and I can say, hey, I'm almost finished with, scheduling a post or editing something. And I think, though, communicating, hey, I'm editing a photo. Like when you're detailing a bike, you're like, I just got to now edit the video of, the detail and whatnot and get it online. And I'm like, okay, like I'm aware then of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the kids, I've definitely, it's weird to have, obviously a little girl in my life because I only have a little boy. And I always wanted Hendrix to have like a sibling. It's funny because I always, thought he'd be a big brother, and now he's like a little brother, and he's totally acting like one. He's fallen right into the role of being the annoying little brother. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want you in my room. And he's like stands right at the door, like on the carpet, but he's not really in the room, but he is in the room. I'm like, oh my God, Hendrix, like you
Yeah.
are being annoying. And
Yeah.
I think he now knows. I'd be like, buddy, you're kind of being annoying. And he's like, oh, like shit, I don't want to be annoying.
Yeah.
But like what you said to show our kids love, that has helped me not feel as guilty for breaking up my family.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't affection, there wasn't respect. Mommy and daddy together, there wasn't that playfulness, there wasn't just the attraction anymore. It was just, it felt like convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're goofing off in the kitchen while making dinner for them and we're laughing and you're messing with me or I go chase you, and the kids watch that, and that's stuff that I remember watching when I was in elementary school. And that was something I always wanted. I didn't know that it was going to be with somebody that isn't Hendrix's dad.
Right.
But I've learned that it's still amazing. If you're like, well, I don't want to break up my family. And if that's something that's keeping you in a relationship, that's not a good enough reason. Like that was my biggest thing. I was willing to literally throw away all my morals, all my values, so that my family could be whole. But I wasn't whole.
But what society and what people and, you know, even what you had to push through and accept is that just because it's husband and wife and a kid doesn't make it a family. You know, yes, it's blood relations, but at the end of the day, if you're not operating as a family, just because of a child being born doesn't make it a family.
Yeah.
And there is opportunity to have a family outside of being the biological father. You know, even my ex, her biological dad, was pretty much non-existent in her life, and her stepdad then became dad. It shouldn't be the goal of the step parent or the other person in the relationship to replace the biological parent, but being able to show the child that, hey, you can come to me if you want. Like early on, you know, Hendrix would not come to me at all with anything. You know, if he wanted something, it was mommy. If
anything.
Yeah. Anything.
Water. No, I want mommy to get it.
And now it's like, no, I want Pat to do it. You know, like, Hendrix, you want me to make you bacon? And he's like, no, I want Pat to do it. You know, and
or where's Pat? And he goes out. What you doing? He's in the garage, you know, working on cleaning his bike. And he's like, what you doing? And I'm like, where's my kid? And I go out there and there he is just hanging out, being a boy.
Yeah. And
so it's possible.
If you're thinking about getting in a relationship with somebody who has kids and you don't have kids, well, don't try and replace that person's father or mother. Just be there.
Or also try to remove the kids and their attention.
Yeah, just be a good person, be an example for how you would want your kid to be. And more often than not, that child will like you. Maybe. That child will trust you. And if you're not ready to be a role model and that your partner's time is not going to be 100% focused on you,
don't date somebody with
don't
kids.
date somebody with kids. Yeah. And don't ever have kids, because your time is going to be split between life, the children, the time that you have for one another. And if you don't have a lot of time, then fucking make time. You know, that's I guess that's the biggest takeaway for this episode for me is, if you think that there's not enough time in the day to accomplish these tasks, then you have to make time. You have to shift around what your priorities are in order to make your relationship successful. If I only get 30 minutes with you today, then I only get 30 minutes, but I'm going to make those 30 minutes count, and I'm going to make them important, and I'm going to make them something that I'm going to look back at and say, you know what? I didn't have 4 hours in the day with you. I only had 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. What did I do in those 30 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, was definitely. I on my phone? Was I worried about all this other shit that we got going on? No. I literally set that time aside just for you and I. And
you have to let me know too. Like, hey, I've got 30 minutes. Can we set aside that time together?
Yeah.
Because if he's like silently, you know, just around and not saying, I've got 30 minutes, I might be like, I have work to do. Like you just said, you're like the theme of yours is making time.
Yeah.
The theme for me, what I've learned in a new relationship is how important communication is. Mm-hmm. Even though my marriage wasn't great on the communication part, I need to prioritize that because I saw what not communicating did. So for me, that it's the most important thing is communicating, knowing that my feelings matter and he wants to hear them, even if it's something that, you know, he did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What I take away from us being together is your silence is not punishment.
Yeah. Take the time to communicate what you're doing with your partner, and things will work out a lot better than you think. If you are just constantly doing your own thing and not involving your partner, then you're going to be on your own at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Don't be in a relationship if you don't want to give
effort.
equally. Yeah.
It takes effort. If you don't have the ability to put forth effort, then don't do it. You're wasting somebody's time.
Amen.
So we got to cut this a little bit short, but
we made a year. We made it a year so far. And honestly, we really haven't fought. Like, we haven't, right?
I think we had one disagreement.
But it was not even, it was like irritation. It wasn't even like we haven't fought because I think we communicate. So if you are divorced and you're just scared to get into a new relationship, you need to first know what your triggers are, know what your patterns are, take some freaking ownership because you were part of your divorce.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of kicked off our whole relationship, and you being like, hey, this guy's a little different because
I asked him, I said, your relationship fell apart. What is your part in the reason why your marriage didn't work?
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to scare this little fucker away.
Yeah, and I just owned up to it, and I'm like, yeah, 50-50. She did shit, I did shit. We both have to take responsibility for that, and if you don't recognize that, hey, you're at fault for some of the shit, then
you're just going to repeat it.
So admit your faults, work on your faults, learn from your mistakes, and if you don't and you're unwilling to, then really
stay single.
Yeah, really ask yourself, am I ready to be in another relationship?
Especially with kids. Like, children that's a whole other aspect. Like, sure, you should know what you're bringing to the table in a new relationship, but you also need to be extra careful because you don't want your children to watch mommy or daddy dating and all these new personalities coming in and out of their house. That can be traumatizing for them. And we hope that you liked our random rambling and you learned something.
Yeah.
And if you like our episode, please like, follow, subscribe, all the different words on the different platforms. We get the most engagement right now, I would say, on Spotify. We'd love to build up our YouTube. So if you are a more YouTubing type person, send that link to other people and thumbs up the videos and the episodes that you do like.
Subscribe.
I already said that.
I know.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We hope that it was helpful, and we'd like to pat ourselves on the back for already doing a year, and it's been really easy. So here's to another year and what we learned then.
Namaste. I love you.